Welcome to the Fatherhood Research and Practice Network video series. My name is Jay Fagan, and I'm presenting this video along with Rebecca Kaufman. The video covers measuring fathers' contact with their children. Contact is important to measure because many fathers who attend fatherhood programs do not live with their children and want to increase the amount of contact they have with them. The FRPN conducted a series of 8 focus groups with fathers, interviewing about 70 fathers in total and 5 practitioners, and learned a number of things that are reflected in our measure of contact. First, it is important to ask about how much contact fathers have had over 1 month because some fathers may not have seen their children in the past several weeks. Therefore, we suggest asking about contact over the course of the past month. Our measure reflects this time period. Second, it is important to ask about fathers' face-to-face contact as well as other forms of contact. Many of the fathers we spoke to have occasional face-to-face contact with their children, but they have regular, sometimes daily contact by phone or through social media. Some fathers even said that they help their children with homework over the phone. Third, it is important to ask about how many nights children spend with their fathers in the same residence. Finally, it is important to ask fathers about more than one of their children. Some fathers have only one child, but others have 2 or more, and their relationships with those other children may be very different than their relationship with the youngest child. After trying several different approaches to identify which second child to ask about, we settled on the second youngest. We found that when fathers had to think about a second child younger than age 18, this child frequently turned out to be the second youngest. The measure that we developed can be used at pre-test, post-test, or follow-up interviews. You can use this instrument to obtain measures of amount of fathers face-to-face contact, that's in-person contact with the youngest child in the last 30 days, amount of fathers' contact with the youngest child that is not face-to-face during the last 30 days, the number of nights that fathers spent with the youngest child during the last 30 days, and the same 3 measures with the second oldest child, if there is one. Now, let's take a look at the contact measure. We will walk you through this measure and show you how it works in a role play.
These questions ask about your biological children. I'd like to circle the number in the gray shaded box below the answer that applies to you. First, how many biological children do you have?
So I have 2 children.
I'd like you to think about your youngest child when answering the next few questions. First, what is your youngest child's first name?
His name is James.
Does your youngest child, James, reside with you all or most of the time?
No, he lives with his mother.
In the past month, how often did you talk on the phone, send letters or birthday cards or texts, use FaceTime or Facebook with your youngest child, James?
Just a few times each month.
Since you do not live with your youngest child, I'm going to continue asking some questions. When did you last see your youngest child, James?
That was 2 weekends ago, so it was about 2 weeks ago.
In the past month, how often did you have face-to-face, in-person contact with your youngest child, James, on average?
So I see him and my daughter every other weekend. I get them every other weekend.
During the past month, how often did your youngest child, James, spend nights with you?
So like I said, it's every other weekend.
In this next section, there will be some questions about your second youngest child. So since you have 2 children, this is your oldest child. What is your second youngest child's name?
That's Cherie.
Does your second youngest child, Cherie, reside with you all or most of the time?
No, like I said, she lives with her mother.
In the past month, how often did you talk on the phone, send letters or birthday cards or texts, use FaceTime or Facebook with your youngest child, Cherie?
So she likes to text every day, so it's every single day.
Since you do not live with your second youngest child, all or most of the time, I'm going to ask you some more questions. When did you last see your second youngest child, Cherie?
It was 2 weeks ago, just like James.
In the past month, how often did you have face-to-face contact with your second youngest child, Cherie, on average?
That's every other weekend. It's the same every month.
And during the past month, how often did your second youngest child, Cherie, spend nights with you?
It's every other weekend. Okay, so it's possible to use all the questions we developed to assess contact, or to use just a few of them. Your decision to use this or other measures should be based on a carefully planned logic model and evaluation. And that wraps up our video for today. Thank you.